Hello, everybody. It's 10:32 p.m. Central Time, 25th of August, 2026. It's Tuesday night here in the USA, and I hope you are doing well. Doing an update, I'm going to record this and put this over immediately on YouTube to bring everybody up to speed as what happened today. In case you didn't hear, a very large volcanic blast took place inside our warned area in the West Pacific. Over here, this is a volcano called Ambae Volcano, also a deep earthquake, 600 or more kilometers deep, down below the location in question. And if you're not familiar with the deep earthquakes, the reason we look at deep earthquakes is because of energy coming up from down below the plates, seismic energy as we call it. And then next to this spot where the deep earthquake is, we have a warning going for an extremely large earthquake to strike, 7.5 plus, similar to what happened this past week. So imagine my shock and surprise this morning when I finished up a program that I'm going to get on the screen here right now for you guys to see. Well, wait. Actually, the screen I just clicked on is the eruption that's currently taking place live right now at Hawaii inside of the crater at Kilauea. Episode number 53 inside of the crater. It's not harming anybody. It's inside the crater itself. Volcanic eruption taking place today after the seismic energy came into Hawaii. But this morning, a 54,000 foot high blast was reported in, and I'll show it to you on the new volcano program that I've been working on. And you see we have animations of volcanoes that are putting off ash going out of them. Now the ash is going to be upgraded. We're going to get that better looking on the ash portion of this. But each ash cloud is a different height based upon the flight level warning that's indicated on each volcano. It's kind of a small number there that you can see on each volcano as I move it around. FL 180 over in South Japan, over at Sakurajima. I click on it, it'll give you FL 180, flight level 180, 18,000 feet, and the information on the volcanic ash alert. I finished this program, or at least got it working fully this morning around 5 a.m. Central Time, and that's when this volcano showed up on the list, Ambae Volcano, with a 54,000 flight level 540. And when it showed up, I first thought that it might be some kind of erroneous thing going on with the program that I just released. But no, here's the warning. Here's everything on it. This is coming from the Wellington Volcanic Ash Advisory Center. And here, hold on. Let me get a display capture open so you guys can see this. Again, you can't see it right now, but I'll get it open from the Wellington Volcanic Ash Advisory Center. And then the Japanese news weighed in on it. Said there was possible tsunami on this. That was actually in the news. Over here on my X page, here's the information from the FL 540 warning, which they then took down to 50,000 and then to 40,000. But this new program here, the other thing that's part of this, when you look at these volcanoes, do you see there's like a white arrow going off of it, which we're going to be changing to a compass point that says the actual direction of the ash advisory, and then the smoke or the ash also leans in the direction of whichever way the ash is going at any given time. Today, there was a 12,000 foot high warning issued out at Hawaii because of that new eruption going on. Now, if there's not an ash advisory and there's just activity at the volcano or it's been elevated, it'll show us just a place mark that looks more like a lava without any ash coming out of it. Up here in Kamchatka, one volcano is blowing one way, one's blowing the other. And they're both leaning in the direction, again, that they're supposed to go. Now, they'll also go higher depending on the level of the eruption. So this morning's 54,000 foot high blast here went way higher than all the others that were on the screen. Now they're all kind of level. They're all kind of about the same size, 15,000, 15,000, 20,000. Go all the way around the planet. And we have our activity that's the elevated volcanoes, for instance. We have Mount Etna putting off lava flows today, which is different than where we were. So really coming in handy. Also, we can get a side profile on this if we want to look off into the distance at volcanoes to which ones are going, which ones have ash versus which ones have lava. We can get side profiles on them and so forth. We can also change a few things on here. We can also change the size of the volcanoes to make them smaller, of course, if those are kind of annoying to people or if they have multiple volcanoes that are side by side. We can reduce the size on that, of course. And the eruption animation also can be made more transparent so it doesn't, bother people. Some people don't like flashy graphics, but in this case, this is super helpful to be able to go around and click on and see all the current volcanic ash advisories being pulled from the Smithsonian, Volcano Discovery, USGS, just wherever we can get the information that's accurate and put it onto the planet. Make it clickable so you can see each one. That's just where we're starting out with this update. The new blast has happened. I issued the warning right here. We're looking right here for a big earthquake to take place. And this is the first 50,000 foot high blast on the planet in, well over at least a couple months. We haven't seen a 50 on the list in a while. The last one, I think, was all the way up here at Kamchatka, and that one normally goes 40 to 50 regularly. Like 27 is like a regular blast for Kamchatka. But overall, 50, we don't see them very often, maybe once every few months. And in this case, it happened right at the warned area in the warned time. Now, if you're a longtime viewer of mine, this should ring a bell for people because we go back in time. Right here, this is where I issued the warning, but I brought up the story from several years ago. It was 2018, 2019 timeframe, and we were looking for a similar sized large earthquake to strike eastern Papua New Guinea, right here, just like we're looking now. And 2 days, maybe 3 days into my warning for a 7-day time period, instead of a big earthquake, we got an eruption over here, right at Mount Katovar, and it hadn't erupted in 2,000 years. It suddenly erupted out of the blue. I'll show it to you, Mount Katovar. Okay, here is Mount Katovar. And the side of it's completely blown out now. Do you see that? Now, it used to be entirely different looking. So it was conical shape. It was covered in trees all over the place. The whole thing blew. It blew 50,000 feet high. On the time where we're looking for a big earthquake to strike in here, instead, we got the big blast from Katovar, unexpected. And the distance of Katovar to where we're looking, let's measure, because it's pretty far. This is, again, several years ago. Katovar, we're looking 1,200 miles east for, 1,000 miles east, right at the edge of the Solomon Islands right there. So we're looking 1,000 miles east a few years ago, right? Well, we go over here to the east. We get Ambae Volcano, and it's pretty much the same thing, guys. It's about the same distance. Well, it's a little less. It's 750 miles. Still, though, it's like near 1,000 miles in each direction out from where we were looking previously. So when I'm looking in this area for a big earthquake, and we get a huge blast unexpected after God knows how long where we haven't had anything, that to me says, okay, there's already seismic energy in the area. We could already check it off the list with a big blast, but we have a deep 5.5, a deep 4.5, side by side, letting us know something's coming up from down below now. And we usually look for a shallower, larger earthquake just with one deep earthquake alone. We normally look for shallower, larger earthquakes next to our deep earthquakes. So this means double whammy, big blast, and deep earthquakes, and right next to it is our warned area. That's just where we're starting the update. Again, like I said, out in Hawaii, they have the new lava flow that's taking place out there. And this is episode number 53. 53 different times it's erupted in the past couple of years since the crater collapsed and started its thing. But we need to just go back, what? How many days? How many days do we need to go back, guys? 5 days? 6 days at the most? There was a 4.1 earthquake on the west side of the Big Island over here west of Mauna Loa, east of Captain Cook. Let me show you where this happened and tell you why I issued for the new episode to happen this week. 4.1 over here. Captain Cook is up here on the upper left-hand side. Mauna Loa is on the right-hand side. The 4.1 earthquake came in right here, prompting me to talk about the earthquakes coming in from the west and northwest. And I said, every time we see the west and northwest side of the island start to move with significant amount of activity, Within a few days' time, we're talking about a new eruptive episode down here at Kilauea. Sorry, I almost just sneezed into the microphone. This is live. Again, it's 10:42 p.m. Central Time. I'm not going to edit that out. I don't even know if you heard that, but anyway, 4.1 coming in from the west, 3's coming in from the northwest, prompting me to talk about, well, are we going to be seeing the next episode? And this is before any tilt meters go or any sulfur levels go. This is the first warning sign whenever you see seismic come rolling in from the northwest. And what's the northwest? Well, look, it's the Hawaiian island chain, right? It just keeps going and going and going and going. But look, it makes a hard bend to the north and goes up into Kamchatka. And that's where all of our energy comes flowing in from the northwest. It's like a giant arrow in itself, and energy comes down and goes over into Hawaii. And when we see the seismic pickup coming in from the northwest, I'm pretty sure this is going down into the magma chambers. The seismic wave goes down into the magma chambers and reverberates, and then, of course, causes some kind of eruptive activity. When I say, of course, it's actually pretty wild to find that out, that there's some kind of seismic wave going around the planet and that it comes into volcanoes and causes eruptive activity. The same seismic wave that's going over and causing Ambae Volcano to blow 50,000 on the same day that the seismic wave goes down back in and causes another eruptive event down here in Hawaii. Also, up to the north, Pavlov Volcano on the list, and it was over here on the volcano globe, up here to the north. It was a 9,000-foot-high blast today up here at Pavlov. It's now gone. The ash advisory is gone, but Pavlov was on there. So Alaska started to have a little bit of volcanic activity, and that's a little bit of a change, because I brought it up this past week. We saw a drop-off in seismic activity up to the north in Alaska. And that's now been replaced with a new volcanic event and 3's on all sides. Back over towards Japan, though, and back over towards the West Pacific. Check off Taiwan to Okinawa. If you were keeping track of areas that I mentioned, Taiwan to Okinawa, 5.5 struck directly in Taiwan, 4.9 struck directly on the shores of Okinawa. In between them, 4.6. We were talking about the lack of earthquakes and how we'd see the same sized activity go up through Taiwan that was striking up in Japan. And where were we at Japan? 5.8. So, I mean, we're within 0.3 of each other, 3,000 miles apart. Now, check this one out. See this 4.7? This is a moderately deep earthquake. This is down at 205 kilometers deep. It's called the Pagan region of the Northern Mariana Islands. Now, this is really weird when I saw this earthquake on the feed, because earlier today, playing around with the volcano globe, I saw a volcano appear here on the list, but it's not on the list. So it appeared here because it was a press release and some other information appeared on the Smithsonian Volcanoes. Let's go look at it. Go see what it says. The advisory from the USGS, Northern Mariana Islands Weekly Update. And what do they decide to do? Well, for no reason at all, they don't say why, but I'm guessing that they issued this statement on the 21st because something is going on there, but they issued a statement saying nothing is going on there. So why not? Again, they didn't do this for every volcano on the Izu Ridge, guys. This is a volcano that's about 300 feet underwater, so it's just below the surface of the water. Why would they suddenly issue this? Right? So again, this high IE AHYI seamount, and they say suddenly nothing's going on there, which is bizarre. It's like a criminal saying there's nothing going on, So let's go look it up in comparison to where the earthquake that just struck today is. Don't you find it odd that an earthquake would strike right next to a volcano where the USGS comes out and says nothing's happening at? Why would they issue a statement? Why don't they do that for all the volcanoes in the world? Nothing's happening at this volcano. Nothing's happening at that volcano. It's like a weatherman getting on to tell you nothing's going on. Isn't that bizarre? So let's put the coordinates in and see how close we're going to the Ayi seamount on this deep earthquake down below. There we go. Well, there's the pagan region, the Ayi seamount. Let's search it. AHYI It's right there. It's literally within 100 miles. There it is. Down below here, something's going on. Now, so don't you find it, again, one more time, it is bizarre to issue statements that nothing's going on at a volcano for no reason, and then a few days later to get a deep earthquake down below the spot where they say nothing. But they have a yellow advisory on this volcano because it's right below the surface. It's erupted before and sent off VEI1, VEI2 above water. So it's not just an undersea volcano that puts off, effusive flows or lava that just goes out underwater. It actually puts blast off into the sky. So that's going on there. But let's go back and look at the earthquakes one more time. Because on one side, we got a 5.5, 4.6, and a 4.9. On the other side, we get a volcano alert of some kind and a 4.7. An alert that nothing's going on. Which is just as alarming as saying something's going on. Speaking of something going on, we're going to jump across Nepal, Afghanistan, Iran, Turkey, and look who got hit. That's right. 260 miles away from our warned area, a 4.4 earthquake struck parallel to our warned spot. It's 60 miles outside of my warned area, Albania. And let me show you where we warned versus where it was hit. So we warned right here. See where it says Naples? Now if you go due east from Naples, literally due east, there's the earthquake. So that is most likely the earthquake we're looking for. We're looking for up to 5.0 to strike here. And it struck on the east side. That is the actual plate boundary, which, let's go back to the USGS plate boundary map and show it to you there. This might even make more sense. So if I'm looking right here, south of Naples or next to Naples, in the J-shaped bend area for a near 5.0 earthquake, and then on the other side of the plate boundary, the near 5.0 earthquake strikes, USGS 4.4. If you go look at the list, it goes up to 5.3. Well, the Europeans say it's a 4.42, so we'll just keep it at 4.4. So a mid-range 4 strikes where I'm looking for something like 4.9, 5. That's most likely the earthquake we're looking for. However, we're going to wait till the end of the week. This is day 2 of a 7-day watch, but check it off the list already. It's there. And the energy is there, at least. I mean, if somebody comes up your doorstep, are you shocked to hear a knock at the door? I mean, we could be seeing that 5 still right there in the middle of the Tyrrhenian Sea on top of this already striking the region being hit, quote unquote. Again, 260 miles outside of my... I'm trying to get it down to 200 miles, and it's 260 miles away. So it's 60 miles outside of my warned area. 4.4, same-sized earthquake, striking on the eastern edge of the European craton, which is shaped like a letter S there, and there is a mountain range that goes up on there. If you can't see that, maybe I should change the lighting angle on this ever so slightly and bring it in at an angle so that you can see it here. Hold on. There we go. So Eastern Europe, all the way around it, guys, the activity is gone around the outside edge of Europe, and it goes out to our next 4.4, out here at the Mid-Atlantic Ridge at Iceland. So it's 4.4, 4.4, 4.4, 4.2 plus 4.2 equals 4.4. Each time you add these together, it doesn't equal 8.4. Each time you add on another 4, you go up by another point, basically. So 4.2 plus 4.2 equals 4.322 or 324. Simply put, these two added together equal 4.4. So it's really 4.4 is going across the entire Mideast to Europe to the North Pole. Following our arrows perfectly, by the way. Yeah, that's a cool feature, isn't it? Be able to see side profiles on this. Same with our deep earthquakes. To be able to get a side profile on them and really see them. We can even go inside of the Earth if we really wanted to. I got to work that out for the graphics on the inside, but we can even go on the inside and see down below where they've struck. But that's got to be a feature I add in later. So if you're just now starting to pay attention, well, guys, all these tools have been released for you guys to use. The earthquakes, the sun. Have you been paying attention to what's going on the sun? Maybe I should take you over really quick and show you here really quick. Hold on. Let's go show you while we got you on here. We'll jump over to the sun. And there's been M-class flare activity going on. We're looking at the SDO on the solar program that we released to the public. And you can zoom in on that. Got major M-class flare. Look at that. There's another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. They're getting bigger. We could go up into the X level. M is right below X. You could go up the next step if more powerful flare activity starts to take place. It's all Earth-directed, coming at us right now, so to speak. I'll turn on the LASCO C2 and LASCO C3 to show us our projected particles going out in all directions from the sun. Yes, this program's free on my DutchSense.com website if you want to use it. It's pretty cool. And it just takes the information from the different solar satellites and brings them in on a 3D sphere and allows you to move around. We got them all on the back and the front side of the sun. But now when this comes towards Earth, you see this blue and this red around the sun start to get really grainy with charged particles that are kind of like hitting the CCDs of the camera as they pass by, and it gets really grainy as that happens. It's literally energy passing by the satellites as it's coming our way. But this all really matters. You need to pay attention to the solar activity because the solar activity plays into our earthquake activity ultimately when we get charged particles coming into the Earth. So that all being said, let's go look at the United States really quick. Let me get the Earth recentered here and just see if anything's changed here in the USA since doing my last update. So the only change here is that we're taking a step up in Texas. We're going back up into 3.0 level activity in Texas, and we reached up to the same size, 3.1, striking down in Southern California, down at Salton Sea, next to the geothermal drill points. Other than that, though, we're looking at 3s, 2s, 1s, and 0s going back all the way up California. This is like a regular day at the office, but it looks like we're taking a step up. So let's just turn down our hexagon sizes here so we can just see where the placement is on all the smaller earthquakes here. Oh yeah, we're a little bit dim on the sun. Let's bring it back up here. There we are, sunny California. So they're going across over into the drill points. The drill points are still getting hit. Nothing new there. So we're at drill points for oil and gas in Louisiana, drill points for oil and gas in Oklahoma, drill points for oil and gas in Texas. Then we get over to the radiological stockpile location. It was hit with a subsequent earthquake. And this is a big mound of uranium that's been deposited on the surface. It was 50 years worth of uranium millings. It is a Superfund cleanup site. And right next to it is a volcano. But the activity, I think, is related to the nuclear material all right here. The odds of having earthquakes next to our nuke sites over and over again are pretty slim unless they're blasting up here in the volcano to make some kind of new spot for nuclear material. I would think that there's some other cause that is more... well, we'd have to get into theoreticals on what could cause that, but there it is. So earthquake there again. The first one was 4.1. The second is 2.7. The rest of these are all at drill points across the Midwest. Once we get to the New Madrid seismic zone, well, we're actually across the river in Ridgely, Tennessee, from Missouri here. I'm in Missouri, in case you don't know where I'm located. But let's go put the coordinates in and go see the New Madrid seismic zone. The last time we looked up an earthquake here, I got up and jumped and ran away from the microphone. Did we move at all any? What do we got going on here? It looks like we got farms going on. Lots of farming. Well, that's no surprise. Down here in southern Missouri, up here to the north, here's the town of New Madrid, the actual town. And so this whole thing is called the New Madrid seismic zone. That is a canal system that connects that long line there. Well, we're close enough, though. I'll tell you what, we're still pretty close to all this stuff, guys. We separate issue entirely down here, over here in Kentucky. This is the spot we were previously at, the gaseous diffusion uranium processing facility that got me to jump up and run away from my microphone. I don't see anything here, though, of any significance at all. And that's kind of a change. We're now just directly in the middle of the New Madrid seismic zone. Unless there's something here that is being hidden from the surface. But I don't think that. I think that this is a New Madrid seismic zone earthquake, which is different than the earthquake that struck a few days ago next to the gaseous diffusion uranium facility. Again, I don't think it's wise to build a gaseous diffusion or uranium processing facility in the middle of the New Madrid seismic zone. It just seems like that would be begging for trouble. So back to where I started. Big blast, West Pacific, in the warned area. That's the whole point I'm getting on to tell you about this. So we are on the edge of it. We've got warnings going for a large earthquake here, a large earthquake south of New Zealand, 5.0 range earthquake over next to Italy. Check it off the list. And we've got activity that we're looking for in the Pacific Northwest United States up to 6.0. We're looking for a 6.5 to strike in the middle of the Aleutian Island chain. This is just me recapping the forecast so you don't have to go back and watch all my videos. That's got to be tedious to try to go back and watch like 4 or 5 videos. Each one's almost an hour long. We're watching the West Pacific, of course, in between our deep earthquakes. So we're hanging on the edge of our seats. Are we going to get our large earthquake at this location, or is it toast now that the big blast has happened there? Did that blast somehow relieve the energy out of that area? I don't have an answer on that. We wait till the end of the time period to see. And if we get to the end of the time period and all we get, quote unquote, and this is like, I'm not impressed by this, but if all we get is a big 54,000 foot high blast from a volcano, first one on the planet in a month or two, then that's all we get. But I'm looking for the big earthquake to strike between these two. It's a matter of 1,000 miles in each direction, 700 miles in one way, 1,000 in the other, with the middle being this. And we're pumping new energy in with multiple deep earthquakes. If you're in New Zealand, we're watching south of New Zealand, down here from the X all the way up to the north, to the south tip of literally the Southern Alps, but I would look for it out here in the middle of the ocean. I hope I'm right on that, because if it hits out in the ocean, doesn't matter one bit. If you're over in Europe, I don't think we're done yet. I think we still need to watch Italy just in case. Guys, it's 60 miles outside of my 200-mile warned area. It's right on the edge of what I would consider to be acceptable location-wise. Timing-wise, there it is. Magnitude-wise, it's already there. We're there. We're within the magnitude, we're in the region, and we're in the time. Now it's just winnowing it down by 60 miles. If it goes 60 miles over to the west even further, and a new 5 strikes, then that's a perfect earthquake forecast hit for the location. And that's good days out, I'll tell you what, considering everybody said it was impossible. I'm happy to get it down to a region of 260 miles, and within the day and within the magnitude for sure. If you want to know how to do forecasting, you are welcome to go and learn how to do it. I have put out directions, step-by-step instructions, explaining to everyone in the world how to do it. So there's no gatekeeping. I'm not trying to you don't have to come back here for me to do it. You can do it on your own. And I've released the tools to do it, so you can go get for free the earthquake program. You can get the geophysics program. You can get the Magnetosphere program that I didn't even really mention here, accepting charged particles into the Earth or reflecting them off using the ACE and Solar 1 data and Schumann resonance. So it's blinking to the Schumann resonance right now, 7 hertz a second or something. No, 14 hertz. It's blinking 14 times a second as it rotates. And then the outer shell is from the Bureau of Meteorology, Australia. And the outer shell is the magnetopause. And those particles that you see there, those particles that you see there either get accepted or reflected, depending on what the BZ is here, that green number, and that green number will turn red or green. And when it's green, the particles are reflected. When it turns red, the particles are accepted. And so BZ tilting negative or positive. There's also a neutral area in there where they become white or blue, light blue or light white. And so that's like on both sides of the neutral area between negative and positive. Simply put, when you see this thing sucking in particles like a fish gulping in water as it swims forward through the water, well, this is swimming forward through space-time, I suppose, and we're pulling in charged particles at some point, and at other times we're reflecting them. It helps to see when. So I can bring this up to current right now. Let me do that. Here's our current right now. So we're neutral, negative.
So we're right on, see the red in the upper left-hand corner, and then a number up there, it says nanoteslas, and it's like a negative number. So when that goes negative, we are a neutral part for 1 degree of 1 nanotesla. Up or down will go blue or white, as you see. It'll pull the particles in. But earlier today, we were red. They're getting bounced off. But look at the green. So we're green. Green makes the particles red, and then red makes the particles green. And this is just so you can see particles being sucked into Earth. This is something nobody's had up until now. And we can turn it any way we want to see it. Double toroid on the... And we can animate it throughout the day so we can see what happened throughout the whole day. So much love on that. If you want any of these programs, they are free on my site, open source. Of course, they are for like use of scientific use. They're not for sale, guys. You can just use them as you want. You can change things in them too if you'd like. It's open source. But that's on you. Getting back to the scene over in Hawaii, let's just round it out here. Look at Hawaii. It looks like they got the brightness cranked on their camera. Hawaii's got the brightness cranked on their camera. It's definitely giving us a little bit of a bright effect. Let me turn the brightness down on my stream to compensate. No, that's not going to work. Well, I thought I could compensate. Maybe the contrast. Maybe it's their contrast. No. No, they got a brightness issue going on their camera at the USGS suddenly. Isn't that great? The thing looks like it's glowing like it's Mordor or something. So we'll see, but it's very impressive view there at Hawaii, and we pay attention to the volcanoes even in Hawaii because from time to time there can be significant seismic activity that can accompany volcanic eruptions. Usually it's in the 5.0 range or less, but sometimes, like in the past in Hawaii, we've seen 7s strike in conjunction with large eruptions. All right, you guys, if you want to watch any of this is all streaming live on Twitch. Hopefully, usually 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I know many of you don't want to come over to Twitch to watch on Twitch, but if you're watching on YouTube, just understand that I tried to live stream on YouTube several times this past week alone, and they limited me to 40 people live, 40 out of 700,000 subscribers. I put out notices, I sent out tweets and posts and everything. I even told my viewers, please share it. Everybody did, and it topped out at 100 people. 100 out of 700,000. And so I tried streaming on Twitch multiple times, and each time I'm reaching even more than that with a way smaller audience. So somebody on YouTube is holding my live streams back so you don't get them, or maybe you guys just don't want to watch the earthquakes, maybe. I don't know. Every time you guys, I see you always tell me you want me to come back to YouTube to stream on YouTube. Well, I did, and we got limited to 40 people, which is just... There's somebody who's got it out for me there, I think. You'd have to try and tell me that's a technical error, and I tried it multiple times for multiple days, and it was the same number each day. That means I'm set to that number, and that's a little low to set somebody like me, so we're trying to do this to reach the world, not to come over and have fun, you know? No offense, but I'm trying to reach the world. It's important. All right, much love. So, we're over on Twitch if you want to see it live, where they don't mess around and they'll let you stream 24/7 and they don't limit you. I'll be back with videos on YouTube if necessary, if I feel the need to bring you up to speed. I don't want to bother my YouTube audience with small earthquakes and stuff like that. But if we get a big blast inside of the warned area in the time where I'm looking for a large earthquake, and we have the potential to go still for an even larger earthquake this week, man, I want you to be prepared. You're not going to hear about this on the news, are you? Where's the news on the 50,000-foot-high blast? That would change all of the climate change stuff, wouldn't it? Sure would. Right? You got a bunch of volcanoes putting off a bunch of sulfur dioxide and CO2 that more than all of humanity combined could produce, and they're doing it all in a day. And they do that several times per month, or maybe even multiple times per year. That would kind of defeat the whole climate change thing, doesn't it? One volcano alone producing all of what humanity can produce for a whole year? Anyway, I'll be back. Much love. We're going to save it now and we'll see you over on YouTube in just a little bit.